Have you ever wondered what would happen if one day the Earth just stopped spinning? No warning, no gradual slowdown, just an instant halt. It sounds like science fiction, but the science behind it is terrifyingly real. From catastrophic winds to unimaginable tsunamis, the effects would be nothing short of apocalyptic. Right now, the Earth rotates at about 1,670 kilometers per hour. That's around 1,040 miles per hour at the equator. This rotation gives us day and night, stabilizes our climate, and affects the movement of everything on the planet. But what if that motion came to a dead stop? Let's be clear. Earth doesn't need to stop forever to cause chaos. Even a sudden slowdown would unleash destruction we can barely comprehend. First, let's talk about momentum. Right now, everything on Earth, from the oceans to the tallest buildings, is moving at the same speed as the planet itself, over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. If Earth were to stop instantly, all that momentum would still exist, and since there would be no gradual deceleration, everything that isn't solidly attached to bedrock would keep moving forward at that same speed. Imagine standing on a moving bus, then someone slams on the brakes. If you're not holding on to something, you're going to fly forward. Now, replace the bus with the entire planet, and you can begin to grasp the scale of destruction. Skyscrapers would collapse. Vehicles, houses, and entire cities would be flung forward at terrifying speeds. People, animals, and anything not deeply rooted into the ground would be thrown across the landscape like debris in a tornado. But that's only the beginning. The oceans would not stop either. Water covers about 70% of our planet's surface. If the Earth suddenly stopped, the oceans would continue moving at 1,000 miles per hour, creating unimaginably massive tsunamis. These waves wouldn't just flood coastlines. They would travel deep into the continents, swallowing entire cities in minutes. No coastal nation would be spared. Entire regions, including parts of North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia, would be devastated by walls of water taller than any skyscraper. But that's not the only fluid that would be moving. Earth's atmosphere would still be in motion too. Our atmosphere moves with the planet's rotation. But if the planet stops, the air doesn't. This means the atmosphere would generate winds stronger than anything ever recorded, faster than the most powerful hurricanes, faster than the speed of sound. At over 1,000 miles per hour, these winds would be strong enough to flatten forests, tear apart cities, and rip the very ground apart. Entire buildings would be lifted into the air, disintegrating as they tumbled across the landscape. Trees, cars, and even people would be swept up like dust in a storm. And because the air would still be moving so fast, wildfires would break out everywhere as friction and heat from debris created a firestorm across the continents. And here's something even stranger. Earth's shape would change. Right now, our planet is not a perfect sphere. It bulges slightly at the equator due to centrifugal force. But if the planet stopped spinning, gravity would pull everything inward, causing the bulge to flatten. This means oceans would be forced to shift from the equator toward the poles, flooding massive areas of land that were previously above sea level. Coastal regions near the equator would be left dry, while once dry areas near the North and South poles would be swallowed by rising seas. Entire nations could disappear underwater. But that's not all. Our gravity would feel slightly stronger. The rotation of the Earth actually reduces the effect of gravity by a small amount. Without that rotation, we would all feel about 0.3% heavier. It wouldn't be a crushing difference, but it would be enough to notice. And then comes the biggest problem of all, the complete breakdown of day and night. Right now, Earth rotates once every 24 hours, giving us a regular cycle of daylight and darkness. But if it stopped rotating, one half of the planet would be locked in perpetual sunlight, while the other half would be plunged into eternal night. The sunlit side would become unbearably hot, turning into a scorching wasteland where temperatures would soar beyond anything we experience today. Oceans would begin to evaporate, leading to massive climate shifts. and the land would become dry and lifeless. Meanwhile, the dark side of the planet would become a frozen wasteland, with temperatures plummeting far below anything recorded in Earth's history. Oceans would freeze solid. Entire continents would be buried under thick layers of ice. In between, there would be a thin strip of twilight, a region where the scorching heat of one side meets the freezing cold of the other. This strip might be habitable, but even here, extreme weather conditions, high winds, and unbalanced climate systems would make life nearly impossible. The planet would become completely unrecognizable. But wait, what about the magnetic field? Earth's rotation plays a key role in generating its magnetic field, which protects us from harmful solar radiation. Without rotation, this magnetic field could weaken or even collapse, leaving the planet vulnerable to deadly solar winds and radiation from space. Over time, Earth's atmosphere would begin to erode, making it even harder for life to survive. So, what would actually survive? It's likely that deep-sea creatures, extremophils, organisms that can withstand extreme conditions, might continue to exist in some isolated pockets. But the complex ecosystems that support life as we know it, they would be wiped out completely. So, could this actually happen? The good news is, Earth is not going to suddenly stop spinning. For our planet to come to an immediate halt, an unimaginable force would have to act upon it. Something massive, like a collision with another planet or a gigantic celestial object, would be required to disrupt Earth's rotation. But if such a catastrophe ever occurred, rotation would be the least of our worries. An impact strong enough to stop the Earth would likely mean total planetary destruction. The energy involved would be so intense that it could reduce entire continents to molten rock, vaporize oceans, and turn the very atmosphere into an inferno. In that case, humanity, along with all life on Earth, would not stand a chance. Thankfully, that scenario is beyond unlikely. In fact, based on what we know about physics and planetary dynamics, there is no realistic natural force in the universe capable of stopping Earth's spin in an instant. However, while an abrupt stop isn't a concern, Earth is slowing down. Our planet's rotation is gradually decreasing, and it has been for millions of years. The reason? The Moon. Due to tidal interactions between Earth and its only natural satellite, the rotation of our planet is losing speed at a rate of about 1.7 milliseconds per century. This might not seem like much, but over extremely long periods, it has measurable effects. For instance, hundreds of millions of years ago, Earth's days were much shorter. Back in the time of the dinosaurs, a day lasted roughly 23 hours, rather than the 24 hours we have today, 24 we know today. And if this process continues for billions of years, Earth could eventually slow to the point where one side permanently faces the sun, while the other side remains in darkness, just like the Moon, which is tidally locked to the Earth. But that's billions of years in the future. Long before that happens, the sun will likely have expanded into a red giant, making Earth uninhabitable anyway. So, should we worry? Not at all. Earth has been spinning for 4.5 billion years, and it will keep spinning